What's going on, guys? It's Frito here. I've grinded Season 15 with the new perks meta, as well as doing all of my placements, nearly getting up to Masters on damage, which either means it's the strongest and most easy role, or just the role I'm gravitating more as time goes on. I wanted to break down the perks meta for the standpoint of the average player, and I think a big percentage of perk value changes dramatically based on the skill tier you're playing at. I organized all the heroes into a tier list, but more importantly than their individual ranking is their grouping. Let's start with the tank role. The personality of 5v5 tanking actually hasn't changed that much. Counterpicking is still extremely powerful, it just is costly to do so. Counterpicking is more severe when perks are leveled up, but less common because the enemy likely doesn't want to have to sacrifice the power they have invested into their pick. I think the tank role is pretty balanced and powerful, but due to the diversity of gameplay you're going to see from the enemy as well as the teammates you're going to be picking around, there's not a clear hierarchy of what's going to work always, especially when we get into the support category, which does have some giga insane value to be had. Remember, in Season 15, Hazard got toned back a bit, so I don't have him in A tier at all, despite him having insane skill expression. So instead, the A tier for tank for me are the heroes that have either the strongest overall impact with their perks, or are just the most robust character to fit in a lot of team comps and interact with a lot of the enemy's comp. Characters like Zarya and Sigma are a little higher than I might normally have them because they both have mobility options now. Winston's perks are very versatile, and considering I think Ana is an S tier hero, that's why he'll remain way at the top. A lot of the offense of the game is giga busted, so being able to contribute to that on your own with a character like Queen or Zarya. Sigma lagging just a little bit behind with a little more defensive options. Those three I think are very stable and will make you feel like you're in the driver's seat from the tank position. But defensive options like Ramatra and Diva are also quite good. They get some offensive upgrades, which does add to their flexibility, but for me, Ram and Diva are the best in class defenders for tanks. Hazard, Roadhog, Wrecking Ball, and Reinhardt require pretty specific mechanical mastery. If you whiff on any of their abilities, the punishment for that is very quick and severe, whereas the tanks in the A tier, I think, have just such good perks you can stand in the middle of the formation and likely output a lot of value. Also consider, because a lot of the offense of the game has gone up and got power crept, that means either being out of position or mismanaging any of these resources, these tanks can start to get bullied down very quickly. A small mistake will snowball out of control, especially as I think Reinhardt's perks are really bad. The mechanics to regenerate a shield are just not that exciting. Because Hazard was overkitted, I think they gave him some cupcake perks. Hog and Ball's perks are good, but they're just kind of counterable on their own. A and B tier tanks are all quite good though. The ones I think you should be careful on picking is Doomfist, Mauga, and Orisa. While yes, Doomfist finally gets a parry button, so with expert timing on his block, you can parry even an Ana sleep dart. The only problem is a lot of the other CC characters got improved as well, so in the cases where you don't parry the sleep dart, well, Ana could get the upgrade that allows her sleep dart to slow you after the fact, or Roadhog gains more ammo when he hits a hook. The counters against these three tanks are more severe than before, and while Mauga, I think, is a really fun character, his build to stand on the objective and farm up health just looks terrible. If he's not a counterpick against the enemy tank, and especially in ranked, they probably aren't going to let you straight up counterpick them with Mauga. So because of that, you probably have to go for the more aggressive build to build into his overrun, which does make him kind of scary as an offensive character. There's just way better options in the tank category to play that way. If for whatever reason you're a Mauga one trick and you want to make it work, good luck to you. Orisa got a lot of flexibility, but I put her at the bottom of the tier list still, because while she's probably still the easiest tank to play, she's the most vague in the entire category. There's definitely better options to play the positions Mauga and Orisa will typically play, and while Doomfist has a insane upside, Ball and Winston got upgrades as well, and I think Winston is just so easy and reliable to play, especially since the survivability and mobility of the game also got power crept. It's very difficult to find one thing out of position and it's gonna stay there for you to be able to pounce. So you do more anchoring now, Keep in mind, Soldier can run faster, Kiri can TP twice, Bap has a dash, Sojourn has 2 slides. Need I go on? Characters that really need to isolate you, like Hazard, Hog, Doomfist, Wrecking Ball, rather than anchor in front of their team, like Winston, Ramatra, Zarya. They're just going to be harder to play based on the nature of the perks meta. Not impossible, just even with their upgrades, the enemy to escape you got even higher of an upgrade. And as I say that, I actually think one of the bigger winners in all of that is Roadhog, who does have the Speedy Hog perk, but it's on perk 3, so it takes a little bit to get there. Upon reflection, I might even put him above Hazard. In any case, none of the list itself is all too important. Adjust in the category based on your skill set anyway. Next up in the support category, holy moly, are some of the perks for the S tier support heroes overpowered. Ana, clearing away the easiest, strongest, most insane support, getting upgrades in both the neutral with her cooldowns, possibly headshots if you're that cracked with aiming, but I don't even think you need to pick that one because nannying another target and yourself is such an upgrade to the ult fight as well. Ana clearing away the biggest winner overall. I suggest if you're getting dove too much, you do the sleep perk, as it adds a little bit more slow and more CC stacking for the team. But other than that, multi-nade is a 5v5 team wipe creator. I cannot believe how strong it is, because you already could hit lots of the enemy with one nade, and then you get an extra nade on top of that. Oh my goodness, antis for days. Not to mention just nading at your feet to heal you and a teammate as well. The best support pairing for Ana is Brig, who stays in the S tier mostly because of that. Her perks are good though as well, but she doesn't get as big of an upgrade. There's only a few maps you should ever consider whip-shotting an enemy into a wall, despite how cool that is. Instead, upgrading her healing, Brig just gets an overall healing power creep buff. Not so impactful, doesn't transform her playstyle so much, but she fits as the protector for Ana and will add a lot of zoning and healing to the team. Moira, for whatever reason, they just want her to be a top tier Overwatch 2 support. Good googly moogly, Moira is massively OP in my opinion. You can either build for Moira to be able to clear farther distances with her fade, which is good if you're getting dove, or to increase its jump height, which will allow you to flank the enemy's backline. While Ana is S tier, she's also a sniper sitting duck, so the slow supports or slow backliners are quite weak to a damage orb in the backline, especially nuking down certain flankers. Getting just even a small amount of anti-heal added on from your support on top of the DPS passive means a lot of characters are going to be focused down quickly with a Moira on your team. I cannot believe how strong she is. Keep in mind, small anti-heal on her damage orb makes her coalescence even stronger, so there's certain breakpoints that she will now break in an ult that used to not be as strong as some others. There's a lot of enemy support ults that just heal, and since now you add a little bit of anti-heal to your Cole, I would say you straight up just counter Mercy's Valkyrie, for example. And I think as you've noticed in the tier list so far, perks create a much more uneven game, unbalanced. The hierarchy is more severe, but I find that more fun because there's more texture throughout the class. That being said, though, the A tier for supports is quite competitive. I just think it's much easier to do any of these damage-minded supports from the playmakers from the tier above them. Bap, Lucio, Kiri, Illari all have good offense, but it pales in comparison to having it with a free escape with Moira or the severe high upsides of Ana's cooldowns and ultimate. All the A tier supports are very good though, but it'll take a bit more mechanics to actualize. We do know that there's buffs coming around the corner to, say, Juno's perk, for example. At the moment, she has to go for the crit headshot, as her glide perk kind of sucks. I also think Bap's offensive perk is too much of a downside considering how OP his healing stats are if you just leave the shift button alone. All the A tier supports are strong, they just don't see as high of easy upside as the S tier ones. Lucio a bit more damage, Kiri an extra teleport, Illari can add some burn to outbursts. All of these support characters' matchups remain the same as they have in previous seasons. Good contributors, weak to the things that counter them. It'll just be tough to keep up the pace of the value that either Ana can get or the relentless assault of Moira. Down in the C and D tier are Mercy and Lifeweaver, who got some of the most milquetoast perks in the category. Mercy and Lifeweaver's biggest strength was their mobility and repositioning, ease of access, but considering the higher upside a lot of the other supports got, on top of maybe also having that, like Moira can fade farther or higher, Zen can float and kick farther, Bap gets a dash. Lucio gets more offense when wall riding. The upside of the S and A tier supports way outweighs the marginal upgrades to the current playstyle Mercy and Lifeweaver both get. A little bit more Guardian Angel distance or a little more damage on Thorn Volley, not worth it. You can pick these characters because they're just so mechanically reliable, but they're not going to help you carry the game. They need someone else to carry the game for them, which is always the case, let's say, with Mercy and Lifeweaver somewhat, but especially since their ultimates pale in comparison to the top ults above them as well. I think you're going to need to play flawlessly as well as expect a teammate to pop off with the type of resources you give. Mercy's damage amp is still insane. That alone can just carry any game if you've got a good hit scan or Pharah player. And while Lifeweaver can cleanse an Ana anti, because you have to grip the target out to do so, it's not that much of a win. It's just a lose less. I would feel different about it if Lifeweaver won in the ult category, but Ana also won there. So even neutraling out with cooldowns is totally fine for her because she'll win when the ults come online. Most of the offense from the support category outweighs the value of Valkyrie or Tree of Life. Last, we've got the damage category, S tier. So much poke damage. Torbjorn, Pharah, Sojourn, Soldier. They either get extra mobility or reload their guns, shoot longer, better ultimate. I highly suggest you have at least one of these most of the time. Unless the map is very close quarters, having one of these S tier picks in your formation, especially since they're all good with Ana, or at least Pharah, Sojourn, and Soldier definitely are. The flexibility of their perks is really the name of the game. Torb's flank turret is only really good if the enemy lacks range. You can put it up high, but in general, a level 3 turret is insane. Plus, he has extra ammo with his full reload perk, which is going to pressure down the tank. Pharah is the most overkitted and overpowered DPS for the cost to play her, in my opinion, and they made her perks maybe the best overall in the game. Mini Grav, extra jet fuel, move while barrage, you can combo with Juno ult. The perk options are insane. Sojourn's overclock gets overbuffed. Overclock going up to 150 just increases its damage at full charge. That's unbelievable. I can't believe they did that. If this was a tier list for higher ranked players in the top 0.1%, I would rearrange it slightly to put Sojourn and Tracer even higher. But for the 99%, this is where I put it. Soldier's sprint perk allows him to run away from things like Dragon Blade super easily. I've seen insane things with the Stim Pack perk that heals more on critical allies, including healing himself through a Winston Nano Boost dive. I think the tank category makes a lot more sense when you know I think these are the S tier picks because they stand in your formation and can shoot the tank a lot and also take some off angles. A little more on the last three than Torb, but lots of ammo, lots of reload, lots of pressure, lots of playmaking. S tier, really strong for the damage roll. A tier now. Tracer's perks are insanely skill expressive. Cassidy's multi-nade a little bit overrated, I think, but just as a kit overall, he fights a lot of relevant things in the meta. Not so huge on his perks, but he's fine. I don't think Ashe is as easy as the other hit scan options, but strong kit overall. Lots of flexibility, good hero. Reaper's got some good flexibility with his perks, and on closer range maps is very reliable. Bastion, kind of the same story for medium range. I don't think Echo is as easy or overkitted as Pharah. Haven't thought that for a long time. Junkrat and Symmetra don't win too hard in the perks meta, but are fine. Some flexibility perks allow them to feel like they don't necessarily have to swap. If you need to be more mobile, then Symmetra can teleport farther. If you're more defensive, you get extra turrets. Oh gosh, that's annoying. I think Junk's perks are pretty mediocre, but he's good as a character, mainly due to how much spatial control spamming can have when there's only one enemy tank on the field, and it might not help defend the enemy squishies at all. B tier, high skill floor. The damage category is a strong one overall, so B tier isn't very weak for me. I just think you have to put a lot of skill in before you're going to get much reliable value out, whereas other picks can sort of just stand with the team. Soldier, Cassidy, Bastion, Reaper, play with your team and you'll probably be fine. Whereas Mei, Sombra, Genji, Venture, you need a very very specific kind of engagement and execution, because I don't think any of their perks are just so easy that you're going to overwhelm the game without much effort. Same thing for the snipers, of course, who don't really get major buffs in the perk meta. We might feel different about this if, let's say, Mercy was the best support. In context, the sniper-based heroes might increase in value, but for now, it's pretty fast, pretty brawly, a lot of movement. When a lot of characters have an extra escape or more offense themselves, you don't necessarily need a sniper to deal extra offense, with the game being power crept. Like, why put all that effort in to hit a headshot to get a kill if you can just vaguely spam down a lane and still get the kill anyway? Guys, that's the entire tier list. Best and worst heroes for Season 15 Perks Meta. I think this is the most fun I've had playing Overwatch 2 since launch. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. I can't wait for hero bans to come as well. I've been Frito. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to leave it a like. And don't forget to click subscribe and the bell icon to actually get notified when our videos come out, when my videos come out. That's been it for me. I'll see you guys next time.